Why, hello everyone, and welcome to the stream. This is Otaku Showboat, joined by Ollie Cat and Dolly Cat on this day, Election Day in the United States, November 5th, 2024, Tuesday, of course. As a reminder, at the very beginning of the stream, if you are in the United States and you have not voted, do so immediately! As long as it's still election day, whenever you're watching this. Make sure to vote. I voted. I didn't get a sticker because I did it through mail, and unfortunately my city did not provide stickers for the absentee ballots this year, or the last time. It's just odd, they just stopped giving stickers for whatever reason. For I voted stickers to the mail ballots. It's rather unfortunate. Yes, Mr. Kitty. Mr. Kitty here likes his pets. He likes his pets. Yes, he does. He likes his pets. So, how are things? How have things been? What are the updates I need to give before starting today's stream? Well, last time was the first stream of the new month, and, well, in previous months, at the beginning of the month, I would have had extended streams. Well, I sort of forgot last time to extend the stream. I just straight up forgot, but I thought about it a little bit, and I have changed a few things regarding the, my incentive to extend the stream by an hour that I have in like the description below the video. I don't think I've updated Twitch though. I should do that at some point. In fact, I never remember my Twitch panels underneath, but basically the way that it will work now going forward is that it will need to be at like approximately $10 of support to count towards extending the stream. I will no longer be adding together lower amounts. It will have to be like in one transaction of 10 or higher to extend the stream. And while I will accrue, while I will add up the 10s for the previous month to start a new month for any of the recurring support that happens, because I don't always get live notification of recurring support. If that member is still a member when I start the new month, then I will of course do the new stream for the new recurring payments. When it's just that I have to think, like, when a notification comes in, do I do it at that moment if I see it when it happens live, or do I still push it to the next month? I think I still push it to the next month regardless, because it's a bit too much to keep track of, and just overall it's been a bit too much to keep track of. Well, not really, but I'm always thinking ahead, like, if this is at scale, how hard would it be? And it would be too much to keep track of. So I think basically just blanket any, like, memberships, Twitch subs that count, and Patreon supporters of tiers that would count towards the incentive. If that comes in, the stream would extend at the beginning of the next month, I think, no matter what happens. But any tips or eBay purchases or Etsy purchases that come in that do meet the threshold would be immediate as of that very day, or the next stream afterwards. And of course, as before, what also would apply is that if it's more than 10, and like every 10 after would extend another stream, basically. So if you do 20, that's 2 streams, 30 is 3 streams, etc., etc. So yeah, that's a little change on that front for that stream incentive. The other thing to mention is that regarding YouTube memberships, I added a tier to the YouTube memberships to be the equivalent of the Twitch Tier 2 sub, a $9.99 subscription, and that, along with the Twitch Tier 2 sub, will count towards having extended streams at the beginning of the next month, for however many there are. That would extend a certain number of days as the initial streams of the month. And when there are enough that every stream would be extended and there are still more, then we will have conversations about whether or not to have more streams at that point, and other shenaniganery regarding timing and amount of streams and length of streams for more permanent, like, additions to content times and such. But right now there's no one who hosts T2 on Twitch. In fact, Twitch, I only have, I don't know why it still says I have 0 sub points, even though I totally do have 1 subscriber at tier 1 on Twitch. But yeah, the T1 subs will not count as towards extending the stream going forward. Same with the initial 2 tiers of membership on YouTube, because I have a like $2 tier and a $5 tier, a 10, and a 25. So I have a tier for membership that is lower than the tier 1 on Twitch, and one that is equal to what the tier 1 used to be on Twitch, but is no longer the case because Twitch increased the price for the tier 1, which is, I'm still like, huh? Why? Why would they do this? I can't even do that. I can't do that on YouTube. If I want to change my prices on YouTube for my memberships, I have to delete the tier and recreate it again. So you have to physically go in and add yourself to the new tier. If you want to stay on that tier, you have to actively engage with it, which is good. Twitch should have done that to all tier 1 subs when they changed the price. They should have just been like, no recurring subs before the price change, and when the price change, you have to go in and manually do it all again. That would have been nice, but no, they want all of the money, so they decided no. It's just gonna not work that way for any of the areas where they could do it that way, except as required by law. And there are some places where it is required by law. I'm thinking, well, India these days, you can't even have recurring subscriptions. You have to like manually do it every month, just because of laws that were passed there. I don't know if that's changed, but I remember that a while back. Anyway, so that's the housekeeping stuff to talk about at the beginning of the stream today. This Mr. Katie. Just that I've added a membership tier of $10 to YouTube, and I will now count memberships at 10 or above towards extending the stream, as well as any support will have to be at 10 or more, or every multiple of 10 to count towards extending streams going forward, and hopefully that will make it feel a little bit more earned, and hopefully incentivize folks to support more than it did before. Because before doing what I had done before, counting everything together, all of the total support and doing extended streams, it didn't actually yield any more support. So, yeah. Anyway, today, Shapez 2, I am going to admit that I loaded up my hard scenario yesterday afternoon and imported the MAM that I was working on, the Make Anything machine that I was working on in our insane scenario. I copied over that work to the hard scenario, and I kept building it. From the moment I started, like, early afternoon yesterday, I did not stop until I went to bed last night at 10 p.m. And I loaded up this morning and did a little bit more on it. This game rules must be the whole, like, no straight stackers thing. So, let's get Ollie. Let's get Ollie shown. There's the Ollie. There's the boy. Alright. Well, I've loaded up the insane scenario here because I want to have this comparison between what I've built there and, yeah, this behemoth, which is lagging the game because it's so much stuff. Yeah, it lags the game. Just casually, it lags the game. Anyway, so where we had worked last time, just to make it clear what progress we did make last time, I did the 2 of the milestone pieces for the final qualification that were in the middle. And I was thinking today we would probably do at least 1 of the other 2. Maybe this bottom one. I think this bottom one. What button did I just push? I just pushed a button on Twitch and it said advanced updated. I don't know what I just did from my mouse going to the other screen. It just said advanced updated. I don't know. I don't know at all what I just did. Oh well. Anyway, I might get to one of these today. It'll depend on how long it takes to go through this. So what we worked on last time, just the general thoughts of. Oh, and I think there's something that there's something I didn't copy over. Oh yeah. There's something I didn't copy over here, and that was the initialization logic. But I should actually have that here. This is the initialization. It just needs to exist somewhere. So realistically speaking, this should be trying to pass. Yeah. That custom shape. I need water. Sharp pain in throat. There for a second. And Mr. Cat has left. Great. Bye-bye, Mr. Cat. We still have Mrs. Cat. She's still back there. She's comfy. So, it's going to try to make this thing at the start. It should absolutely be able to do so if I provided it with, yeah, all of the inputs. We'll get there. So my design philosophy for each layer unit going into last stream. And there's an error in here somewhere. I need to fix it. There's 2 errors in here that I will need to fix somewhere regarding the these wires. There's a point where there isn't a crossover that needs to be there. Trying to spot here. No. Ha. Yeah, here. I see it. Yeah, that needs to be. There we go. That was one little error that I had noticed. And then another error is that this is the wrong rotator. It needs to be the clockwise rotator, not the counterclockwise in that position. Okay, so in this, as I had built it last time we met, it's not taking in any pins. I have adjusted that. It will now take in pins. There's 5 inputs instead of 4. It takes in layer 1 pins. I think it works how I think it works. And I built it as such. I treated it basically like a normal shape. And it will just input a quarter wherever there's a quarter on the layer analysis. At least it should, in theory, based off of my understanding. But we input quads. So on here, it takes all of the quadrants of each of the shape types, spits them out, and checks the layer input analysis. And of course, when I have it coming in, it'll all be the same rotation. And then once it's analyzed, it gets rotated back to its appropriate spot. Or it gets rotated to where it would be in that position. I do that for each shape, and it gets passed down. It then checks for whether or not that quadrant has color. If it does not have color, it goes down the reject line. If it does have color, it'll go down the check line to the painting array. Otherwise, it bypasses the painting array. And then it comes down into stacking. And I didn't really... Well, I did spend quite a bit of time last time on trying to figure out how I want to do stacking and figuring out all the gates and such. I have come up with a different solution than this in my full MAM. Well, my make anything machine that should be able to make any of the random shapes. Not absolutely everything, but it should be able to make everything random. Which is now this. Expanded for 5 layers. So this would be 1 layer, and when 1 layer is done, you copy that for each additional layer, and then you have to figure out what you're going to do with all of the layers in the end. So these are now each unit for each layer. We'll build out the layer minus crystals, and then it goes into here, and this adds the crystals. So I also added a crystal logic into this, meaning it is able to build the random shape with crystals, as well as the regular random shape. Yeah, let's not really get into the fact that I would need, well, I would need 4 of this to have 4 belts of the object, of the target object, and then I would need an entire extra set for the other random object. It's huge. but it works. So what have I done for the stacking logic and all the other stuff? So this is pretty much the same. It's just corrections, and this up here is cutting the full shapes into quadrants. Pretty much just taking everything, making quadrants, and this is bringing in all of the different colors of paint. As for the routing of the inputs, yeah, it's a thing. It's a lot of space pipe and belt and stuff, and it could be a little bit shorter, but you know, it works. I could reduce all of this by having more trains coming in. It's just that I didn't, because this is so tight here, because of all of these being so tight, and because I don't really want to have a single train that's 12 long, we get into issues of, like, it will be very messy trying to feed a single train, all the shapes, let alone all the colors, let alone both. Which is why I'm no longer going to do this here, having one train with everything on it. I am splitting it into different trains. In fact, I'm splitting it, and it's going to bring in 2 trains worth of all of the colors. Because, worst case scenario, an object that is 5 layers, where every single piece is used and is colored one color, would need, with this build, 20 belts of input color. 4 times 5 to feed 1 belt of output. Now, is that ever going to happen? No. I don't think so. I think it can happen on the regular one, but not the one that can do crystals. I don't know if the one that can do crystals must always have crystals, in which case then, yeah, it's not going to be 20 every time, but and then after level 50, it'll start adding pins to things, and I don't know whether or not it's a guarantee that it must add a pin. In which case then it's like, oh, if something is always going to be a pin, then it's never going to meet that scenario, but I'd rather have that support if it were to happen than not have that support. Anyway, at least with all of this, I can just have the 1 of the shapes and the 2 trains of the colors, and I can keep those trains separated wherever I make them. And this is, of course, another color, so I actually need 3 color trains, because this is for all of the crystallization stuff, which this logic, yeah, we'll get to that. So what am I doing for the stacking? Okay, let's review the stacking as part of this, because this is where things have definitely changed compared to up here. What I ended up deciding to do was checking each potential permutation of the layer. Checking every permutation of the layer, as in, does the object have all 4 pieces? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Does it only have 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 4, 1, 3, and 4, or 2, 3, and 4, or 2 and 3, or 1 and 3, or 1 and 2, or 3 or 4, or 1 and 4, or 2 and 4, or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 alone? Also, I need to check, hey, are any of those pieces actually crystals? Because that is basically a null. If it is a crystal, I'm not making that yet, so it will be empty. So I need to know if something would be a crystal to treat that as empty, but I also need to treat the empties as empty. So this logic up here exists to take in the shape signal. It's taking in the shape, and it's checking if that shape is a crystal, an uncolored crystal, because as it turns out, the shape analyzer will output, in the case of a crystal, an uncolored crystal quadrant, which is kind of weird, but because there are no uncolored crystals normally, it will have them in here as an output of the shape analyzer, and it outputs the color separate. So what I need to check is it a crystal? If it's a crystal, which I mean this would be active, I have to not gate that, because if it's a crystal, I want the signal to be off. I mean, I could check for a not equal and not have this not. It's just I figured the logic in my brain found this easier to understand, where it's like, okay, if the incoming signal is a crystal, we want to turn off the signal going forward. We also need to check if it's empty, because the way that this would work is, well, this would give me an active signal if this is an empty as well. Because if the wire here is off, well, the false is not equal, so this is off, but this not gate turns it back on again. So we need to make sure that if it's off, that it can't go through this gate. That's why this gate is here. Because if the signal here is off, it will not pass this active signal on down the rest of the line, and it will treat this as properly off. Okay, so we're able to check here both if it's a crystal and if it's empty, and making sure that if it's empty, the output is off, and if it's a crystal, the output is off. From there, it passes into this mess of AND gates and NOT gates. Because here, this check for 1, 2, 3, it's actually a check for 1 and 2 and 3, not 4. It checks for 1 and 2 and 3 and not 4. And that will only be true if that is true. Similarly here, this checks for 1 and 2 and not 3 and 4. This is 1 and not 2 and 3 and 4. This is not 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And so on and so forth for all, 16 permutations. $15 permutations, excuse me, of all of those variations that you can have, including the 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, the 2, not, or the 1, not 1, 2, not 3, not 4, the not 1, not 2, 3, not 4. Oh. I see. A mistake. Three. And then this one's 4. Sigh. Gotta fix that across everything. See, this is also why I'm going through and I'm explaining this. Because by explaining it, I'm able to spot errors. Like that. Okay. So in this instance, our shape layer, whatever, top, layer top, is a full star. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is active. When 1, 2, 3, 4 is active, of course, we also have like all these stacker sets down here to match those 15 potential outputs. When 1, 2, 3, 4 is active, it goes into this stacker array, which stacks 1 and 2, and then 3, and then 4 on top of it. The next sets stack 3 items for those permutations of 3, those like 6. Oh no, those 4 permutations of 3, and then the following permutations of 2. Yeah, there's 4 permutations of 3, there's 6 permutations of 2. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 4, where it's just the one output. Now, I'm using belt filters for this, and I'm bringing in all of those signals being output from all this mess of AND gates and NOT gates. And it's just checking the belts. If the signal is active, it'll go through. If it's not active, it won't go through. It's as simple as that. But the main thing here is that the result of all these stackers is combined all to one belt, because only one set of these outputs will be active. Ever. Only one set will be active at any given time. For each layer. So it can all combine on one belt, and that's fine. And then it gets output onto this smart belt and thrown into this mess. And of course this is done 5 times for once for each layer. So this one does the topmost, second topmost. Oh, did I really? Yes. It's another thing I need to fix. Blue. Cyan. Magenta. Yellow. So in this case, there is no yellow. In this case, there is no yellow. So you can see here where it's checking for the empty on this gate. It's like, if it's empty, this is off, and therefore this NOT won't propagate this active signal. Anyway, so now my own sanity check layer, top layer, has 4 items. This layer has 2 items in opposite positions. It's 2 and 3. Looks like it's 2 and 3 anyway. Alright, something's up. Something's misconfigured here. What did I misconfigure? Ah! You are also missing a NOT. How did that happen? I don't know. Well, this is awkward. So I kind of need to move everything over a tile. What? Why are you pushing me down? Hmm? Alright, have I corrected things? I think so. It's just now I need to connect that. Oh, God. Again, this is why we check things. This is why we check things. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. This should be just 2 and 4? 2 and 4. 2 and 4 is here, and it is true. And that should be the one and only active signal coming out of here, yes. 2 and 4 goes all the way to here. And I have these little trashes, overflow trashes, to help with the amount of time that it takes to switch target shapes. It doesn't help much. I mean, I have this at the very end, which is checking for what the shape should be as well. And if it doesn't output the correct shape, it's just going to dump it rather than put it onto the thingy. But I still have to wait for the whole thing to clear out. And that takes several minutes between each target shape. Just an unfortunate consequence of, yeah, everything. So that was checking here for the second most top layer. What am I gonna grab here? What am I gonna get? Oh, I guess it's telling me very specifically, hey, you can take that. So I have a 90 left and a 30. Woohoo. It's not gonna bug me again for a while. So let's see, that was 2. Or the second topmost. The third topmost. Cyan here. That one is all 4. Alright, so that's good. The next one is, again, 2 and 4. That should now... Huh? What? Oh. See? This is why we check things. This is why we must always check things. There. Whoopsie daisies. Alright. And this is empty. Layer 5 is empty. Okay. Then we get into here. This took me a while to decide how I was going to do this. Because in this process here, I needed to decide, I need to know the order for stacking, and I need to check for if we need to crystallize and pull the correct color to crystallize for each layer, but I have to start with layer 1 and then stack layer 2 on top of layer 1, then crystallize if layer 2 is crystallized, and all the way down the line. What I've done here, I've realized that, okay, if yellow is active, it will always ever be layer 1. If this is active, this will always be layer 1. And I will show why that's the case here. So the way that the unstacker works is it separates the top layer, simulates separating the top layer. So the output has the single layer that is the top layer and then the rest. So each time you unstack, you start from the top and work your way down to the bottommost layer. So if this is active, this last one is always going to be the bottommost layer. It is always going to be layer 1. If there are 5 layers, this will always be 1. So I can treat it as always being layer 1. Logically. So I treat it as layer 1. What I do here is I'm checking, do we need to crystallize? We have to again check, unfortunately, if it's a crystal in any of the quadrants. And just one of the behaviors of the random shapes, because this is built to do the random shapes primarily, it would be so much more complicated to modify this. Actually, I have to basically rebuild from scratch this whole other section, but in order to support multiple crystal colors on a layer, yeah, anything that will involve having to do swapping logic is not something that this machine can do, that I've built. It cannot handle crystal swapping logic at all. In fact, I don't even do any swapping in this entire MAM. So it can make any of the random shapes that will pop up in the operator levels down here, these randomized goals. It should be able to do any randomized goal, because the randomized goals follow specific rules, and one of those rules is that there will only ever be one color per layer if there are crystals. That crystal will always be a single color. There also will not be any gaps underneath crystals. If there are crystals, there will never be gaps underneath. So you will never need to break crystals either. Okay. So all we really need to do here is just check if there is a thing, if there is a crystal, and then take the color of the crystal. If that is true, we take the color. Well, we take if there's a crystal, and then we have to check the crystal. So in this case, we're just checking for the crystal. Okay? So this is actually a little bit more than I think I need. I just need to really check if it's a crystal and send it into here. What I'm doing with this particular logic is it's outputting the color of the crystal, and I am converting it with this AND gate into a true or false. So if there is a crystal and it has a color, there will be a signal being passed that is the color. If that exists, it will signal true, and it will pass on this belt into this crystallizer array, this crystal generator array. I decided ultimately to separately do the same logic to pass to pipe gates. So I do this check to output the color. It has to be done 5 times, and it goes into 7 sets of pipe gates. And of course, each one needs 2 pipes, because the crystallizer logic is 2 pipes per belt. Two pipes per belt to run into here. In which case, in this instance, each pipe is the equivalent of a belt of throughput, not a full pipe's throughput. Just because these pipe gates have a fluid throughput equivalent to a regular item belt. If you were not aware of that little detail, they don't pass the full 7200 through. They only pass the amount of a fluid launcher through. So I do have to treat these as separate belts for all intents and purposes. Somewhat. At least for the logic up here, checking for colors. Okay, well, if this exists, it will always be layer 1. So from there, I bring it out this way. Now, this not only will always be layer 1, it will always be the first layer of a 5-layer object. It will never only ever be layer 1. There will never only ever be this. If yellow is active, so are all of the others. So I know with 100% certainty that if yellow is active, that there is magenta. And since there is magenta, I have to stack magenta on top of this yellow layer, this base layer. So, okay, we're going to have here a check that is checking the magenta so the game gives you that information. Has anyone made a table for throughput versus belt speed on machines? The game shows you in the tooltips, or in the windows for them, how many buildings you need per belt and per fluid launcher. It gives you that throughput info. And all of the info that you need is in here for every building. Yeah, so about that, actually. This entire time, I have been under the impression that the color mixers... Where am I mixing colors? Here. This entire time, I've been under the impression that these color mixers lose half of their volume from their output. That may have been the case, but it would have been a bug, because as things stand now, as it turns out, yes, you actually do get double the fluid contents. You get the amount out equivalent to what you put in. All of my builds for fluid mixing is outputting half of what it's capable of. That's like big sigh moment, realizing that, oh, I only need half of what I built here to get the intended output. I only need half the input of what I put in here to get the intended output. Just, you know, yeah, the entire time behind me, or behind the thingy, you know what, I'm gonna hide that. We don't need to see that, that thing that's never gonna have anything added to it ever again at any point. So, we're not gonna show it anymore. Fluid contents, yeah, it says 120 liters there. From 60 and 60. So there is no loss of contents. I very much complained about that. I remember having a big rant about this because I thought that this was actually 60 out. When I was first encountering the color mixer and building initial builds with it, I was not seeing numbers that made me realize that it was double. I thought it was exactly equivalent, 1 out, but no, it's 2. It is 2. There is no loss. So, yay. That it's great that there's no loss. That you do end up with a correct volume of output for the volume of input. This is nice. This does actually change things. Especially here with the with white, because oh my god, white is so much better. White is really, really better since the volume doesn't change, right? So you're getting from 3 belts of input, you're getting 3 belts of output, or 3 pipes of output from 3 pipes of input. So this being what, 6 buildings? 8 buildings. Yeah, 8 buildings. This is actually the wrong setup. Yeah, this is the wrong setup for this. For white. It works, but it's wrong. Because this initial color mixer only works half the time. It's outputting 120. This is 60 in. It's actually 2 color mixers per mixed input color. It's convenient. Don't get me wrong, this is convenient. But it's not at ratio, which disturbs me. Now that I've realized that, it's disturbing greatly. But anyway, back to this, after mentioning all that. So this will only ever exist if purple exists. But purple can exist, magenta can exist, and yellow could not exist. So I need to now check here whether or not yellow exists. Okay? Because if we are dealing with a 4-layer shape instead of a 5-layer shape, then this would be the layer 1. Magenta would be layer 1 of a 4-layer object, but layer 2 of a 5-layer object. So in order to check if this exists, I take the output here, which is a shape, and I run it through an AND gate. I put both sides through an AND gate, and this gives me a 1 or 0 output. If it'll either exist or it won't. And the reason this is important is because if I try to directly connect this to the belt filter, it's going to be checking if the thing matches the exact output, and that's not what I want. I want to just have a simple yes, no, and I don't need to check if the purple belt is the yellow belt. If the purple layer is the yellow layer, that's not the comparison I want. The comparison I want is, does the yellow layer exist? If not, bypass this stacker. If yellow exists, this will be on, and it'll go into this stacker and stack the stuff on top. Either way, regardless of whatever happens here, I then need to check if we have crystals. And if we have crystals, we need to pass it to the crystallizer. If not, we can bypass it. And it's the same logic all the way down the line where, okay, now we have cyan. If we have purple, we will always have cyan. So cyan, again, needs to check, hey, do we have purple? Do we have purple? If so, we need to stack on top of the purple. And then, hey, are we crystallized? If so, we have to crystallize. If not, we have to bypass. And go on, and like, hey, if cyan exists, blue must exist. But blue can't exist without cyan, so blue has to be like, oh, hey, is there cyan? If there's not cyan, we can bypass the stacking. But if there is cyan, we have to stack. Of course, we have to stack. And then we have to check. Oh, well, now do we have to crystallize? Do we have crystals? Do we have to crystallize? If so, we have to crystallize. If not, we can bypass and go on. And hey, if blue exists, then green will always exist. Green will always exist. Green will always be here, no matter what. But we have to care. We have to check. Hey, do we have blue? Do we have blue? Does blue exist? Because if blue exists, we have to stack on top of blue. If not, we can just go and we can check. Hey, do we have crystals? If you have crystals, you have to crystallize. If not, we can bypass, and then we're done. And then we're done. That's 5 layers. Checked. 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5. And that end result? Well, that is the end result. That is the target shape, at least theoretically. That is then the target shape. Done. Completed. And so it gets loaded onto a train and can go on its merry way. All of that logic that I've just described makes one belt. One belt of output. From, that. That I know works. Are there better ways of doing this? Abso-fucking-lutely. There are far more efficient ways of doing this, but this is the way that I came up with independently of any other outside source. Okay? This is what I've independently come up with. How my brain worked through this problem. Take in shape quads and colors. Check the quadrants. Pull out only the quadrants that I need to make the layer. Color them if they need to be colored. Check the colors of the colors that I need if they need to be colored. Otherwise, bypass it. Check, hey, which quadrants are we actually using so that we can properly stack things. And once they're stacked, we can pass that on to then get the final stacking of all of the layers, as well as crystallizing and getting that done. Because as I've said, among the rules for the operator level randomized goal that allows crystals, it will only ever have one crystal on a layer, one color of crystal on a layer, which vastly simplifies things, because that means I don't need to worry about swapping crystals. Ever. And I also don't need to have to worry about breaking crystals. Ever. On this, because it will never require you to have either empty spaces or pins beneath a crystal in how it generates these random shapes. And apparently it can't even do pins until like level 50, so there's that too. Well, the idea behind all of this was to make a thing that could make as many of these tasks as possible. It should be able to make any of the task shapes until we get to crystals, at which point it will not be able to do anything involving crystal breaking, or, you know, like our milestone here where we have multiple colors of crystal on the same layer. So nothing that involves swapping crystals, and nothing that involves, hell, even partial crystals. Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know if I have an answer to this. I don't think that the random thing can do this either. I don't think the random generation can do this either, because it very specifically generates the shape and runs it through a simulated crystallizer in the logic. The Discord has the logic pinned on the Make Anything Machine channel. Let's see. Generates a 1-layer base shape. If crystals are allowed, pass it through a crystal generator. Repeat 4 times. In insane, 3 times or otherwise. The following: generate the base shape. Maybe pass a pin, push, or stack on top of what was previously generated. If crystals allow, maybe pass result through a crystal generator. So it will always pass through the crystal generator last, after generating the base shape. So it is quite literally impossible for it to generate a half crystal by itself on a layer. It is simply impossible. It is also impossible to generate an empty full layer of crystal. Now I'm thinking about that. Unless it had pins. Oh, that'll be nasty. It could generate a full layer of crystal, but the color will match the layer above it. And the top layer will never be. Oh yeah, and that logic will never produce a naked top layer pin either. Huh. So it will never have a bare top level pin. At least I don't think it would. Could it? It could. If it generates a top layer that's been pinned, it could put bare pins on the top layer, and if it then decides to run it through a crystallizer, it would have a full crystal top layer. And this does not produce that, ever. So I think I have found something that I need to add. Need to add ability for top layer to be full layer crystal. I mean, to do that, I just have to check if a layer is 4 crystals, and then treat that as 4 pins. If a layer is 4 crystals, I just have to treat it as 4 pins. It's a very easy enough addition to this, but it is additional logic that I need to add, like, up in here. So I need to... So this is always going to be, at least my intent, is that this 5th slot is always going to be the pin slot. So I need to, like, somehow convert these checks from crystals to pins. Now, on the other hand, what this would do is it would require me to always have pins, and it would replace all crystals with pins. That end up getting replaced when it runs through the crystallizer anyway. I don't think that causes any issues. I think it would still always produce the intended output. And I guess theoretically you could call this a T MAM, like a true make anything machine. I think that's what the T is supposed to stand for, but basically you can make a make anything machine that treats gaps as pins always. And you can also treat, like, lower level pins as gaps as well. So a true make anything machine would always properly have a gap where there is a gap, and a pin where there is a pin. Because the game, the Vortex treats them the same no matter what. So a true make anything machine would always have the exact equal output to what is requested. But you can cheat it a little bit from just how the game works mechanically. I think that if I do this, it would still result in the exact intended output, because I don't think I have to worry about the pins dropping. Since if the pin were to drop, it runs it through a crystallizer, and if it crystallizes, you know, those would be reflected on the other layers ahead of time. And the crystallizers would replace the stuff anyway. Huh. Now that's a good point. It said that it doesn't supposedly have gaps under crystals, but there's nothing saying that it couldn't have There's nothing saying that it couldn't have previous gaps before it runs through the crystallizer. Because as soon as it runs through a crystallizer, all the gaps are going to be filled anyway. So if there are higher level crystals, then in that instance, all of the crystals would be the same color. Whatever it drew for the, like, highest layer there was. And if it had previously run through a crystallizer, there wouldn't be gaps. So yeah, there won't be gaps. There could be a bunch of crystals where there were gaps, or pins. Basically, anytime there's a crystal, it could have been a pin on a multi-layer object. Or even a single-layer object, it could have been a pin. But this is all, like, post-level 50 random anyway. Still, though, I do need to do this check among this stuff. So, how will I do it, though, is the question of the day. So what's the pin? P, capital P. Oops. P. Yeah. And this is CU. In that position? I think so. I think that's northeast position, yeah. At least this is the end of the line for these wires. Thing is, I need to get this down here. Or up there. Or, like, here? How easy or difficult would it be? Very. Yeah, it's like I need them here. That should do. Okay, so the way that this works is we are checking for, are we equal to crystal, or are we equal to pin? If we are a crystal, we will now output a pin. Oh god, so now this also needs to change. If we are a crystal, we are a pin, we will always be active, and the stacking matters, so it will never be empty, so I don't need this at all. So I no longer need that check for if it's a crystal whatsoever. Because if it's a crystal, it will be a pin. It will still be a physical object, and I don't really care going into this mess if what it is. It doesn't matter what it is, it only matters if it's existent. That's why I'm only outputting a true-false from these. I just care, do you exist? Yes or no? Yeah. So now I need, what is it? This one. Yeah, I need this and this copied. There. So just to reiterate that what I just did allows for a specific case where the game potentially produces a random shape, or a random crystal shape, with a top layer crystal. With a top layer full crystal. Where it's just a full crystal. And I determined that this can happen in a very specific scenario where 5 layers are generated with pins, where the last layer has been passed through a crystal generator, or no, not blah, where the last layer has been passed through a pin pusher that then gets stacked onto the full shape that then also goes through a crystal generator. So the game would have to roll 5 layers, it would have to roll the top layer to be pinned, and it would have to roll for that top layer to not just be pinned, but also crystallized. And that way it could theoretically generate a top layer bare full crystal. And what I previously had built was not able to generate a top layer full crystal. Now it can, because it's going to treat those crystals as pins until it gets to the crystal generator at the end. And it will run it through the crystal generator at the end. And since that will only ever happen on layer 5, technically I only actually needed to do that logic on layer 5. But I just did it anyway. I just passed it to the other stuff anyway. Just cause I felt like it. Just cause I felt like it. It only has relevance on green. It would only happen on when it's a 5th layer. None of the other layers, I think, would have that. I'm trying to think. Could I end up with a... Right, I guess in any case where a full layer is a full crystal, with any layer being a full crystal, yeah, like that could just be a thing as well. There is a case where it could generate an arbitrary layer that has pins, that's been pinned, stack it onto the object and run it through a crystallizer, and then you end up with a full layer crystal. Well, in the way that I'm ordering this, layer by layer, I would end up with a fully empty layer trying to get stacked on, or trying to get crystallized or stacked, and it wouldn't be able to do it, it would break. But now that I'm checking for crystals and putting pins in place of crystals, it will always be able to treat that as a layer that can get crystallized and will replace the pins with crystals. So that's just something that needed to happen regardless, as something that I was missing. And I hope I'm not missing anything else important in this, because anything more complicated is gonna need a bit more overhaulage on this. So shall we turn it on? I think it's ready to be turned on as I turn that camera off. We're going to need a few things. We're gonna need a few things. We're going to need every base shape, including pins, and we're going to need a lot of color. 3 trains for color, ideally, and a train with all of the base shapes. So I'm thinking that for this, I should probably have like a hub where I'm bringing stuff from disparate places to then send to here a little bit more easily. Just combine them into a single train. That might be a bit easier. Let's start with the shapes. Let us start with shapes. I need 5. I need more separation. Actually, what am I doing? And the only shape that actually particularly matters is the position of the one that I have for pins. And we get to go through the process of making those pins. Oh boy. And that'll be... Let's see. That'll be this last one. This will be the pins. We're gonna make pins through crystallizing. Woohoo. Oh, do I have enough, I don't have enough. Yeah, I don't have enough stuff to move the things through. There's not enough schlotch. Yeah, because I need 2 more to get through here. Ugh. Yikes. Okay then. I still need... Here's what I'll do. I'll take all that. We're gonna do that. Wow, perfect. Now, I guess, technically speaking, that works fine too. I need to talk about... I'm thinking about this right now. I know I'm working on this, but my brain has occurred to me. I found a bug in the game that's annoying. I found a very annoying bug involving, at the very least, crystal generators. Did you know that if you're not looking at them, they don't have the same throughput as when you're looking at them? In fact, I can show this. I have to load up the hard scenario. I'm going to save. I'm going to go back to the menu. And I'm gonna show... I want to show this in factory hard. Which, oh yeah, I'm over level 100 now on the operator level on hard. Just happened. Time happened. When this eventually loads, I didn't hook up the current version. I have a previous version here of the build. Just, it may look a lot smaller, but it's a lot of back-end rails versus this. I didn't want to have it stacked like this. I wanted to have it linear like this, but it did mean that, you know, if I wanted fewer trains, I needed more belts to feed the thing. Because I don't want these long trains feeding in each layer like this. It's what I didn't want to do. Anyway, so this here is 6 crystallizers being fed a proper amount of fluid. It is fully capable of outputting a full throughput belt. You can see that right now it's like not quite a full throughput belt for whatever reason. I don't... If I sit here and I watch it, and I let the game run and I'm sitting here and looking at it, what you'll see is that the throughput is going to increase to the correct throughput. You can see even now it's the correct throughput, yeah? As I'm looking at this, as I'm sitting here, and this is on screen, and simulating on screen. See, we've got our full 180% per minute, right? For this particular random single layer shape that the game has rolled. For the operator levels here, it wants this ultimately. Right now, it's chewing through trash basically. It hasn't fully propagated the change to the next level yet, so we're getting a magenta version of what was the previous shape, which was yellow and not magenta. So it'll propagate soon. Now, if I go over here and I actually come here and look at this, which is actually in the midst of propagating the new shape. Yeah, here. It hasn't actually reached it yet. Dang, I can't show this until it fully propagates. Frick. Frickin' frackin'. Anyway, if I look back here now... Oh, hey, look, there's gaps. There's gaps. As it's starting to use up the last of the stuff, but there's gaps. The fuck? I was looking at it, and it went to full rate, but as soon as I move my camera away to look at a different part of the base, I don't get the full throughput anymore. There is absolutely a bug here related to off-screen object culling and the math that the game is running when objects are not on screen. There is very clearly a bug here. Now, I'm saying it with just the crystal generators. I don't know if that's doing that with other buildings. I know with certainty that with the crystal generator, very specifically, there does seem to be a bug with off-screen culling where the throughput is lower than what it should be. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that and talk about it briefly because that is a very important issue. The game should not have that inconsistency in the throughput. That is not how that should work. I hope it will be found and fixed soon. Because that's a pretty major bug. There should not be different factory performance like characteristics for throughput depending on whether or not I'm looking at it. That's just a big no-no. Anyway, I need to make pins, so in that other save I had this little double blueprints here. Pin 5 layer 12 belts, pin 1 layer 12. So I need to find just a sacrificial object near color. This is a good spot. And I need to mine. And I need this. That's the one. Give me color. That'll be enough. That'll be just enough. Since this is not using layer 3, may as well not use it. I just need 3 sets of 1 and 2. Because, yeah, making 12 belts of bare pins is gonna need, 24 belts worth of paint. Not joking. It would need 24. Twice as much. Odd, those two. On that preview. So this is going to be giving me bare pins. Here I've got an object that is pinned to 5 tall. Running it through, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pin pushers. Removing the initial object. Leaving me with pins on every layer. It goes through a crystallizer array. 3 sets of crystallizer arrays. And that ends up giving me a full 5-layer cake. That I then pin push and get bare pins. Ta-da! There's your bare pins. That is how we bare pin! Is glorious. And that goes there. It goes there. So I need to also design all of this, as well as like all the color ones that I may, whatever color one I may have. I need to design it in such a way that it can match up sort of with this footprint, because as I may have mentioned, I need 4 of it times 2. So I need 8 of it in total if I want to have 4 belts of each of the random ones in the end. For now, I'll leave it at 1 and use it to do the task shapes, because why not? And these milestones probably just gonna sit around for a little bit, frankly. Yeah, might just sit a bit. Yeah, that gap there, that's going to be breaking, crystal breaking. Yippers, that needs to be crystal broken. Which means figuring out what the hell I'm going to do to break those crystals. Same with, kinda same with you. But you actually also have crystals on that same layer. Yikes. And you have, like, emptiness. Yeah, you have emptiness. Wonderful. Yes, emptiness. Well, those will be thought-provoking, I'm sure, and we'll take entire streams just to figure out just one of them. But I've decided that I'm not going to do that. I don't feel like doing that today, so I'm not going to do that today. I will not touch that today, actually. I have mentioned that what is involved with doing these milestones, I would like to maybe work on them eventually. I am not, like, driven particularly towards this. Yeah, how many platform units is this? Oh. Yeah, I guess that's a thing too. I can't make 3. I can't put down 3 more of this, let alone all of the effort to do the other stuff. I'm gonna kill this. I shouldn't. I can't kill that. I have to kill this, yes, but this part very specifically this part needs to be replaced, like over here, because that's our input. This will be the input. Now, in fact, I'm going to have a global transmitter, global receiver set to the random shape 1 as well. That'll be kind of replacing this little signal producer here. You have random shape 1 and random shape 0. Ooh, right. I don't actually have enough, do I? Ew. Oh, that sucks. I only have white and uncolored open. I will need to make a modification. I hate repeating myself, but I think I will have to repeat myself. Very sad, but I'll manage. Each layer is gonna be different. It's all the way at the end, actually. Wait, what? Why do you exist? Yeah, that thought just occurred to me. Like, hold on. There would only ever be one more layer here. Anyway. Yeah, that's the kind of logic that I'm going to need to do for each thing. Right now, this is just a signal producer. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this signal producer on a transmitter. Red? Do I want to use red? I guess so. That'll transmit on red. I then have to receive red. Where's my receiver? Yeah. Whoops. And then each one needs to be adjusted. Yeah, I mean, I don't need the other stuff, but I'll leave it for now. So you see, by doing that, what I was able to do was reduce the total channels being used. However, now this has to change. Now this has to change. Alright, so you get replaced with that. Oh, that sucks. I'm blocking. Oh. Yeah. Hey. Get over here. Okay, layer 3. or, 3, 4, 5. Ba-ba-ba. So you... are cyan. Okay, that's correct. That goes there. Okay. Now I figure out where in the world I am transmitting these again. Because apparently still more. Apparently I'm still transmitting on all those channels somewhere. I need to figure out where I'm transmitting. Okay. Oh. I mean, that just is correct. The correct way. Here, put a little display to show what we're making. So somewhere I'm, for whatever reason, if I put channel 1, I'm still transmitting the layers, so somewhere I am splitting and transmitting. I just don't know where. That's very odd. Where is that happening? Doesn't seem like it's in any of this. me, does this not change even when there's no transmission? That would be weird. But it seems to be the case. I don't know where else in the map I would have had that transmitter array. Is this just a receiver now? Weird. I don't see it. I don't see any random square either. It must not purge the signal until it changes. That's the only thing I can think of. Yeah. It doesn't purge it until it changes. Good to know. That kind of just means you only need to do a transmission once of a specific signal. Another oddness. Could be a bug. Could not be a bug. Regardless, this now means I can have other transmitters, and I could set the receiver to the two random shapes as well, whatever random shape I want it to be. I can change that. I just have to make sure it gets changed here as well. So I would need to change it here and here, and also here. If I change these channels, if I change all these channels of these receivers, I can change the transmitter. I could use another receiver here in place of this signal producer to change it to the random operator shape 1 or 0, and then pass it to the transmitter. That would make it significantly easier, I think. But I would still need to change the channel from red to like green or blue or whatever across the whole thing when changing this, or when modifying to go from like random shape 0 to random shape 1, when I create the version of this for random shape 1, which would be, 4 of this. Either way, back we go to actually providing shapes and colors. That would be good, I think. Actually providing shapes and colors, yeah. That would be nice. there's diamonds. Let's grab that whole thing. How about stars and squares? And circles. Okay. That'll be 12 belts per shape being provided to here. I then need to repeat that 4 times for this to have 4 belts of this. And that's just for the shapes. And then, you know, repeat it again for the other random shape if I want to have a separate build for the other random shape. That's kind of in the way, actually, so I'm going to cut this. And lower it down a bit. Just a smidge. Just a tad, a hair. Where are we going? Oh yeah. There. We're going there. Yeah. Just there. From there to there. Lovely, isn't it? Yes. Very, actually. Makes me wonder if I should just have this here. Maybe. But the point being, I can have this be arbitrarily long or short. I have control over how long this rail segment can be, like the exact positioning of all of this. And it may not matter for this one, but it likely will for others. Alright, colors. Okay, I need an area like very rich in all of the colors, as in extremely rich in all of the colors. Autosave, thank you. That, or we're just going to train things in from big distances. Did I copy? Fluids all. I'm going to modify this. I think this is a great opportunity for me to actually build it from scratch. All things considered. So, paint mixing. I was mistaken when I initially built the paint mixing, the color mixer setups. Because that produces a full belt. A full pipe. Well, belt equivalent of pipe. That alone. Oh, right. Four. This says 900 max fluid production, though. Which would mean 8 to get 72. How does this behave again? I think I get it. Okay, so my initial thought was that this could produce double. No, it produces the exact amount. It's just using half the amount of input that I expected. And the white is just wrong. So for these... Yeah, for these color mix arrays, they still produce what I intended them to produce. It's just they use half as much total fluid as I am providing to it. And white's a little bit different. Alright, where was I? Here. So we're going to make this more compact than previously. That's going to be 8. That gives me the full pipe, the single full pipe. And that can be repeated for the layer 2 output and the layer 3 output. Probably going to be going the other way with that output set. Or better yet, it's going to be more like this. Oh yeah, this is also not Factorio. So I can have pipes be next to each other without them automatically merging. In case you're wondering why I would do that, why I would have a gap in between pipes specifically, is because in Factorio, if I have a pipe here and a pipe here, they automatically form a intersection. They automatically do this. Across all of them, they always form intersections, so it would look like that. Just, yeah. And you have to like get a mod to not have that behavior. So anyway, or that adds a bunch of stuff, like actual stuff. Where straight segment of pipe is treated as a separate item from the T intersections of pipes. So it adds all of the permutations that you can end up with. And honestly, I think I would prefer it that way, to have all those permutations cluttering things. So that's the 3 main ones, and then we will get to white, which I think for white I will still have the intended output. But this is all I need for white. And I'm going to have the 3 pipes in. And that should still give me 12. Alright. It should still give me... Oh, right, boogers. Boogers. Is this right? Or is this wrong? I think that this is correct. You need half the amount of mixed color as the intended output. So, yes, this is correct. So that's a more appropriate build for white. Seems pretty large, though. I mean, I guess you could do that. It's not there. Oh. I can do that way, that's fine. So we can either do this times 3. So either this or this. And I guess technically this is able to be pushed a bit further up. Yeah, I think I'll prefer this over this, because it's a bit easier to get all the inputs in. And that is at proper ratio. It's at proper ratio, and it uses twice as much of one color as it does the other two. Yeah. That's kind of awkward, though. It's kind of awkward, but it, I think, is the correct way. Because you're not mixing two mixed colors to get white, you're mixing the third primary color to get the white. So that, whatever that third primary color is, you're actually ending up using twice as much as the other two. Which still doesn't seem right to make white to me. Doesn't seem right. But that is, I think, how it's working out mechanically. Oh, hey, I have 90 research points. Okay, buddy. Am I, like, getting more? No, it's 10 per operator level. Anyway, the others are like just mainly pass-throughs. I'm trying to think that this is 12, 12, 12. Right, I need more than one of this. I need like 3 of this. Because, yeah, up to 20 in here. This one is less restrictive. This one's maxing at 10. It maxes 10 of belt equivalents. And since this thing produces 12, it's fine having just that going in for the crystallizers. The thing is, it's like, yes, I do need 3 of this with all the primary colors as well. Alright then, speaking of the primary colors, how many do I actually need? Noting that I need double of 1 for white. So let's see, it's 2 each, right? So it's 2 reds, 2 blues, and 2 greens to make these 3. 2 of whatever I need for this. So that's 1, 2. Excuse me. This makes the 7,200. It needs half. So this is 7,200. These 2 is 72. So 3. 72 times 3. Per layer. So that's 72. Hello, Mr. Cat. Hello, Ollie. We still have Dolly back there. She's back there. Good. That's my baby boy. La dee 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 da. So, from there... Yeah, goodness, it's kind of weird not really thinking about the 3rd floor at all with this. Huh. Because, yeah, that's a set of 4. This is actually just 2, not 4. And same here. It's just I need to track which colors are like where. Alright, the white. That'll be how I handle white instead of having it from the edge. Or do I want to keep it from the edge? Because either way I have to bring in 3 fresh colors. I'll just do it like that. I'm not going to directly load into trains. That's the other key here. Is I am going to use the pipes into that array. So now... that should be correct. You know what? I'm just going to keep that same logic there. But then... run layer 3 on these. But you would need more. And since I'm using layer 2s with just 1 across the previous ones, that should mean I have enough extra here for the 1. I'm hesitant because I can't really use this. I would have to modify it for like new games where I don't have access to floor 3 in order to make the white, but oh well, I'll live with it. Theoretically, that should be fine. Interesting, it's 10,800. I very rarely ever use the full capacity of these space pipes. Yeah. Yeah. And then I keep my original setup. Where I do 3 overs. I'm actually at 5,400 per lane. This is half. This is half the throughput of the belt. The potential throughput of the belt. So, I will need to have more mining. Yeah, I'll need one more set for whatever is going to be that top line. I can't fit another on red, but I can on blue. Yeah, so red, blue, and then green. Where's a green? There's a green. Now, I totally put those on belts, didn't I? I was gonna put them on trains, but I guess the distance is close enough that it will be fine. For I have declared that it shall be fine. Yeah, that needs to be a little further away, thanks. Sweet. Bring that. There. Oh hey, yeah, we should see this moving now. We've got all of the stuff. So what do we have? We should have all... Oh, something's wrong. What's wrong with you? Ah. That's what's wrong with you. See? Little things like that. Little things like that constantly. Alright, how about you? You had colors, right? Yes, you're blue. So I'll need to have color brought in for that layer. This layer also needs color. Yes, the correct parts are there to get the color in. How about here? You're uncolored. Oh yeah, and now you're moving because that was also broken. And there is no layer 5. Okay. Oh, but I guess the question is this actually working here? No? Right, they're empties. This doesn't have crystals at all. Empties. I want empty. So yes, actually, this is correct. Empties should be empty. Now this... Hey, look! We've got stars. We have successfully rebuilt the stars. All right, let's get back to this shenaniganery again, because I need the colors again. Twice more, actually. So we'll do that, and then over here. There-ish. Aw. Sigh. Okay, that's blue. How about the green? The one that'll be extra will be blue again. And the exact position of stuff doesn't necessarily matter, but if I can be consistent, I may as well be consistent, huh? Okay, then over here. What do we got? The reds have to be a little different. There's green. Not as much blue. Lots of green. Blue. Okay, is there another patch? The order of the colors does not actually matter, so whatever works for adding another set, that's not going to work on this particular red patch, but we've got another red patch there. Green. Alright, well, now it's just a matter of time. Oh, right, I have to... You know... It would help if all the outputs were outputting. That would kind of help. There we go. Ah, that would help too. All of that. All of that. You're not a milestone. You're the previous task. You can go away. I don't need you. I don't need that at all. That's just taking up my space for no damn good reason. So yes, it has to get here, it has to travel down all the belts, all the way, etc., but theoretically, this can now make every random shape and every task that follows the random shape's rules. Which is the vast majority of them. It will not be able to make my current milestone shape it will not be able to make, yeah, that. Yeah, I can't do that because this needs a swap into place. You take a half and one that has just the quarter, and you swap them. And you need to do that again, apparently. Oh, a break. An actual break, huh? Oh, the frame rate. What the hell? What happened to the frame rate? How many thingies do I have? 137,000 buildings. It's not supposed to be affecting the frame rate like that, I think. Oh hey, there's all the mixed stuff coming in. What I'm asking of it right now is not a crystallized object output. I'm asking of it to make this task piece. And we can see we have one layer done. We are getting the colors in, so we can now see that blue is going in, and these are being painted. They're now being painted, and they are coming down the line. They will come all the way down to here, and then stack. What? Oh, looking at the next thing. So that one's blue, this one is red. Let's pulling out reds to paint those, and they're gonna go down to here. Next one is uncolored. Just two daggers. They should be... What? Ah, oh, this again? I thought I fixed you. Could have sworn I fixed that. I guess I just missed. Just double check. I guess I just missed that one. Alright, well now all the star pieces are gonna head down. Get stacked. Make this twin blade. That's going to make its way onto this space pipe all the way down. Yes, big boy. Big ollie cat. Here's a pretty ollie cat. Okay, we have that. We know that it's the top. The next piece is the blue piece. It's on its way. red piece should also soon be on its way. Yeah, there it is. Piece with red. Huzzah. It will make a grand total of 1 belt. But that is technically... Oh, whoops. Not a make anything machine. Not quite absolutely every possible permutation of shape that can possibly exist, but capable of every random shape that the game can potentially spawn. So from here, it's a matter of scaling for additional belts of throughput, including all of the back-end shit. So as much as I would like to do 4 belt lines, I may just settle for 2. We'll see. So what do you think? How'd this turn out? I know that some may complain that I did like the bulk of it in between streams and not live together, but I would counter that with, yeah, a lot of this is relatively tedious build, like logistics work, and frankly, I'd rather explain it after building it and like turn it on together as I've done here than go through the entire minutia of building the whole thing, because we would have been here for at least 5 more streams of just building this from scratch. I just needed to take the time and devote 100% of my conscious thought at it, at the problem. And I like that it ends up being just this nice rectangular build. I don't like that how large it is. Don't get me wrong, I really don't like how large it is. And how many platforms it's using. Like, I know for a fact I could probably remove this entire section of platforms if I reroute these pipes. I am pretty sure I could reroute these pipes if I desired. Like, it seems like layer 2 is open, and that I only need 1 layer. So I could bring layer 2... and then, like, offset to 1 or 3 here and bring it in. So I could reroute these pipes and just not have these platforms here. God, it's just so much, though. Yeah, I could have... like, there's so much I could do with space-saving measurements, but then there's also the thought of, oh, but isn't there, like, more efficient logic? Like, more efficient logic would probably be better. It still, that, like, be the best, right? It's the thing! Hey, it exists. So what do we have? We have Over here, the dagger shape, it doesn't need to stack, it doesn't need to crystallize, it just goes through, it gets the shape above it stacked on top of it. Of course, and that goes down. It then stacks this on top of that. Goes over, stacks this on top of that, so that should be the shape. I'll know for certain once it reaches down here and crosses this gate. This is the final filter. It is a sanity check. That's all it is. It's a sanity check. Just see, hey, is this actually the shape that we want? If not, it dumps it. So if it passes it, I know I'm correct. I'm correct! It is alive and correct and glorious. I now know that this can make anything. Dare I say it? It can make anything. Well, almost anything. As I've mentioned several times at this point, it is not able to do... It doesn't have any swapping logic at all. So, specifically with crystals, no mixed color crystals. It cannot do mixed color crystals. I would have to redesign this entire back-end section around that concept, and I would have to have a concept of trash in the system. And reprocessing layers it would become very annoying very quickly. Pretty much, yeah, just very annoying very fast. Now, could I look it up? Sure. Will I? Maybe. If someone has a blueprint for a better make anything machine, that could do that shape. If you have a make anything machine that can give me that as an output, I'd like to look at it just to like understand it. Like go through the logic of it. Because I wouldn't want to have it copied wholesale for the sake of copying wholesale. I want to learn why, like, the actual logic behind these checks, because trying to figure it out for myself is going to take a very long time of messing around, and I kind of just want to find out the answer. Why search for myself when it's been done already? Because I've done solving already with the game. Like, I am comfortable enough now. And I'm like, okay, just what's the answer? What is the logic? What is the logic? Because I can do the logic without making MAM. I can do it manually, but the point is not to do it manually. This should be a full belt. Just gonna throw out there, this should be a full belt, and yet this here, why are you not a full belt? Red? Okay, red. What's up with you? Aha. How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet that as I watch this, the belts will magically recover their throughput? So I have now confirmed that this bug that I have presented today also applies to painters. So there is a bug with the painter buildings, as well as the crystallizer buildings, where if you are not actively looking at them, the game will not properly calculate the throughput. There is a problem with the calculation when not looking at these objects. And it is causing the machines to not operate at their rated speeds. They are slower when not looking at them. I don't know that. My guess is this may have something to do with the fluid being brought in. It might be something with the internal mechanic of fluids and how it's pulling fluids from the pipes in this like fluid content system. It may just be that there's a bug. I'm in the way of this. Where's my thing? There may be a bug with this fluid contents here and calculating this number when you're not actively looking at the building. That's my initial guess as to what's happening, is that when you're not looking at it, that number is not being calculated correctly. But I could be wrong. That's just, again, a wild shot in the dark. I know that it is something that is shared between crystal generators and painters, is that fluid contents mechanic. So since that seems to be a commonality, just, you know, the fact that it's pulling in fluids makes me think, oh, there might be a problem with inputting fluids when not looking at the building. I do not know if this is a bug that is known about or reported, because I haven't looked at, you know, the full bug report status in the game. So I only need like 2 of these total, and we're like pretty close to the, yeah, we're really close to the vortex here. So I just want to see this get loaded up onto a train and get its butt delivered. Problem then is I have to kind of just wait around for another 1080 to accrue, or whatever the amount is of this container. It's only 900 right now. Okay, well I have to wait for another 900 to accrue. But you can see, hey, that's the thing. That is the thing. And then I have to just change the signal, and when I change the signal, it'll start voiding everything on the line. But yeah, that is, as they say, that, I guess. So what are we going to do when we meet for the next stream on Thursday? Well, since there isn't too much else to do with this, I think that I will attempt to add at least one more of it to have 2 belts of throughput and feed it. Spend the time doubling this, and then from there, actually work on these milestones. Actually work on building these, as the tasks build themselves. At least all the way until what number can it not do? I think it can not do 33. Nope, it can do 33. It can do 33. Absolutely, it can do 33. And the reason I say that it can do 33 is because it will have these as pins. Oh, no, actually, you know what? No, it can't. It can't do 33. Yes, what am I thinking? Yes, it can. It'll do layer 1, it'll crystallize layer 1, and then it'll add layer 2 on top. Duh. It will do it will do that. It will not do this. It will not do this. No, it will not do this one. I'm pretty sure it can't do this one. Because it would fill all of this with blue. this side would be filled with blue. So it cannot do that. So definitely, second task of 33 cannot be done by this machine. And it also has other, like, swapping stuff here, like it can't do that stuff there. No, it cannot do 34, it cannot do 35, and it cannot do 36. So, you know, the last four, all four of the crystal tasks, it will not be able to do, but it should be able to do every single other thing that exists. Yeah, it should be able to do all of these other things. Yes, including the rocket. It can make this. It can do whatever it needs to with pins. But yeah, pretty good start. As Mr. Cat is now bugging Mrs. Cat back there, grooming her because he wants that spot. I would like to thank you all for watching today's stream. This has been a Talk to Show, but if you've enjoyed the stream, do all the social stuff down below the video. I will be back on Thursday with more. I hope to see you all then.